Sarah Matthews gazed into the staff bathroom mirror, smoothing her white uniform for the third time that morning. Shadows lingered beneath her eyes, revealing yet another night devoid of rest, as she tirelessly took on extra shifts to manage her brother's escalating medical expenses. By the age of 32, she had mastered the art of concealing her fatigue with a polished smile. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead as she gathered her blonde hair into a tidy bun, adhering to the stringent protocols of Memorial General Hospital. Her modest apartment in the less sought-after area of town, along with the decade-old Honda parked outside, revealed the sacrifices she had made for her nursing career. However, Sarah discovered at a young age in foster care that true dignity transcended material belongings. It was all about the way you presented yourself. The morning huddle unfolded with the standard announcements until charge nurse Diana Wells delivered a shocking revelation. Marcus Bennett was admitted last night, she declared, her tone laced with feigned worry. Indeed, mother, that would be Marcus Bennett. The air buzzed with hushed conversations. The skiing accident of the tech millionaire was the talk of the town, dominating the headlines of the morning news. Diana went on, he's currently unable to move from the waist down. We require an individual to manage his case. Her gaze roamed the room, pausing on Sarah with a hint of barely masked contempt. Are there any volunteers willing to step forward? The stillness was overwhelming. Sarah contemplated her brother's impending surgery and the additional earnings this situation would yield. I'll take it, she murmured softly. Diana's impeccably groomed nails clicked rhythmically on her clipboard. How kind of you, Sarah, though I imagine Mr. Bennett is accustomed to a higher standard of care. Snickers echoed throughout the room. Sarah aligned her posture, recalling the guiding words from her time in the foster home. Your value is not defined by what others think. Room 501 stood apart from the other spaces in the hospital wing. Medical equipment, valued at a sum exceeding Sarah's annual income, adorned the walls. The patient remained motionless, his strong physique at odds with the hospital attire. His jaw was obscured by a dark stubble, and his hands, now powerless, bore calluses that took her by surprise. Not the gentle touch she had anticipated from a tech mogul. Mr. Bennett? With careful steps, Sarah moved toward the bed, assessing his vitals. Greetings, I am Sarah Matthews, your dedicated nurse. His eyes snapped open, remarkably aware even in the haze of pain relief. You can call me Marcus, he said, his voice gravelly. It seems I could use your assistance with all aspects. Sarah observed the fleeting shame that danced across his features. She had witnessed it previously, dignified individuals facing their fleeting vulnerability. That's what I'm here for, she replied with a sense of assurance. And you'll be back on your feet before you know it. A sudden knock broke the silence. Tom Parker, the orderly of the day shift, strode in with a confident air. Hey Sarah, he said with a sly grin. I heard you stepped up for diaper duty with the little champ here. So, you're making some serious strides in your career, I see? Sarah noticed the tension in Marcus's jaw. Just as she was about to reply, Diana stepped into the doorway. Sarah, my dear, she said gently, please ensure you give Mr. Bennett the utmost care. We certainly don't want him to believe we offer ordinary care. They departed, chuckling. Sarah focused intently on adjusting Marcus's deliberately ignoring the heat radiating from his ears and the tension in his fists. I can ask for another nurse, he murmured. Sarah held his gaze with unwavering confidence. Mr. Bennett, Marcus, I have dedicated a decade to the nursing profession. I have supported individuals during their most delicate times. Providing care with dignity is anything but ordinary. With a deft touch, she repositioned his pillow, showcasing her skillful ease. Shall we delve into your treatment plan now? A subtle change flickered across Marcus's face. Unexpectedness, maybe, or acknowledgement. Unbeknownst to either of them, this moment was destined to alter the course of their lives eternally. On the third day of looking after Marcus Bennett, Sarah had developed a rhythm. She made her entrance ahead of schedule, meticulously examined his charts, and organized his morning care prior to the majority of the staff beginning their shifts. It provided a sense of seclusion, a quality she recognized Marcus cherished, as he navigated his momentary reliance on those around him. Tom chuckled during the morning break, remarking that the marketing genius couldn't even promote himself out of a diaper. Sarah concentrated on her coffee, yet Diana still had more to say. It must be incredibly fulfilling, Sarah, to assist those in need, Diana remarked, adjusting her stylish scrubs. Despite their immense wealth, Sarah collected her supplies for Marcus's morning care, brushing aside the murmurs that trailed her through the hallway. The morning light in room 501 cast delicate shadows over Marcus's face as he gazed out the window. "Good morning," Sarah said, as she arranged his medications with care. "Rest peacefully, as much as one can while scheming their getaway." Marcus tried to be funny, yet there was a hint of irritation in his tone. "The gathering of the board. We can hold off until you're feeling better," Sarah interjected softly, monitoring his vitals. "Time is essential for your temporary paralysis to mend," as Marcus's hand formed a tight fist. "Do you understand the experience of transitioning from managing a billion-dollar enterprise to... Is this?" Sarah halted, locking eyes with him. "No, but I understand the experience of having your dignity challenged on a daily basis. Foster care imparts that lesson swiftly." A subtle change flickered across Marcus's face. Before he could reply, Diana glided in with a perfectly crafted smile and an air of measured empathy. "Mr. Bennett, I trust that our Sarah is delivering the necessary care." Sarah's jaw tightened at her insistence on adequacy. "I can consistently delegate additional tasks to someone seasoned." Marcus's voice became cutting. "While Sarah's care has been outstanding, I have concerns about the professionalism of certain staff members who engage in discussions about patients in break rooms." Diana's smile wavered. "Has she withdrawn?" Sarah commenced Marcus's physical therapy exercises, concealing her own astonishment at his resilience. "They have no idea you once coded away in your garage," Sarah said softly, helping him stretch his leg. Noticing his surprise, she continued, "I delved into your company's background, beginning with nothing but student loans and sheer determination." Marcus grimaced as he pushed through yet another stretch, clearly having completed his homework. "Many individuals only perceive the final outcome. Many individuals perceive only what aligns with their desires." Sarah repositioned himself. "They observe me changing adult diapers and conclude that's the extent of my abilities. They observe your prosperity and presume you've faced no hardships." The physical therapy session unfolded in a thoughtful hush. As Sarah meticulously recorded his progress, she caught snippets of Tom's voice drifting in from the hallway. He chuckled to another orderly. "I bet she's dreaming of a sugar daddy. What other reason could there be for someone to take on bedpan duty alongside a millionaire?" Sarah's pen paused. Through the door's window, she caught a glimpse of Marcus's reflection illuminated by the morning light. His eyes remained wide, his jaw clenched. He had listened to it all. That evening, Sarah discovered an unsigned note tucked away in her locker. The Ultimate Guide for Aspiring Nurses. Chapter 1. Focus on the affluent when they are vulnerable. With determination, she crumpled the note, squared her shoulders, and made her way home. Tomorrow would bring yet another opportunity to offer care with respect, no matter how others perceived her intentions. Friday arrived with a downpour and a towering pile of documents that held the power to transform everything. While sorting through Marcus's belongings, Sarah stumbled upon documents that had come with him from the scene of the accident. While she sifted through the items, a newspaper clipping drifted down to the ground. A generous benefactor supports an educational initiative for foster care. A generous $10 million donation was outlined to assist foster children in their pursuit of higher education. The donor had declined acknowledgement, yet Sarah recalled the foundation's name from Marcus's company paperwork. Discover anything captivating? Her heart raced at the sound of Marcus's voice. He observed intently, his green eyes keen even with the effects of the morning medication lingering. "You never brought up your foundation," Sarah remarked, lifting the clipping. "I don't really put it out there." His voice held no arrogance, just a calm assurance. "Achievement holds no value if you close off the path for others." Just as Sarah was about to reply, Dr. Richards walked in for the morning rounds. The evaluation by the neurologist was encouraging. The sensation in Marcus's legs was coming back more swiftly than anticipated. Minor triumphs. Outstanding care truly transforms outcomes, Dr. Richards remarked, as he examined Sarah's comprehensive charts. Your focus on his physical therapy schedule is yielding results, with Diana seamlessly stepping in nearby. Nurses should be rotated to allow different individuals the opportunity to play a role in Mr. Bennett's recovery. Absolutely not, Marcus replied with conviction. I value a steady approach in my care. Later, while changing his sheets, Sarah discovered another document, a draft of a living will. Marcus had allocated all his fortune to different foster care programs in the event of his passing. The date on the document was quite outdated. You've been at this all along, she murmured softly, assisting him to sit up. The image of the tech millionaire is what people anticipate, he concluded. It's simpler to allow them to hold their own beliefs, much like it's simpler to let your coworkers form their own opinions about you. Sarah rearranged his pillows, contemplating the layers of masks and the weight of assumptions. At times, the truth can be overly intricate for individuals to grasp, or perhaps, it's just too straightforward, Marcus remarked, grimacing as he adjusted his stance. They seek intricate reasons, desire, aspiration, hidden agendas. They struggle to understand that occasionally, individuals perform good deeds simply because it is the right thing to do. The afternoon ushered in yet another wave of murmurs. Sarah caught snippets of conversation in the break room, likely searched his net worth before stepping up, and pondered what she does during sponge baths. As she documented Marcus's vital signs, Tom strode in with fresh towels, a confident smirk adorning his face. Could you use some assistance with the sponge bath, Sarah? I'm certain Mr. Bennett would value a gentleman's approach. Just as a response was about to form, Marcus's tablet emitted a chime, signaling an incoming video call. The display revealed his executive board, poised for their weekly briefing. Tom's face flushed as Marcus picked up the call, his voice resonating with the confidence of someone accustomed to leading, even from a hospital bed. Esteemed guests, I apologize for the disruption. We find ourselves immersed in the realm of healthcare. Sarah, kindly proceed with the vitals. All others, his gaze sharply directed at Tom, may depart. That evening, while sorting through supplies, Sarah stumbled upon a folder labeled Future Initiatives. Within were blueprints for the advancement of healthcare technology, emphasizing the importance of patient dignity and the quality of care. The drafts bore dates from several months prior to his accident. At times, Sarah understood, the most profound insights in life emerge not from spectacular events, but from subtle realizations found amidst essential assessments and medication schedules. Social media has exacerbated every issue. On a Tuesday morning, Sarah stumbled upon this revelation as a nurse's aide unexpectedly presented her phone during breakfast break. Displayed on the screen was a meme that lacked proper editing finesse. Sarah's visage superimposed onto the figure of a gold digger, poised over a hospital bed with gleaming dollar signs reflecting in her eyes. The aide remarked, barely concealing her amusement, that it has taken the hospital group chat by storm. A complete discussion exists. Sarah found the coffee turning bitter on her palate. She had endured 3 weeks of cutting remarks and knowing glances, but this felt distinct, more lasting, more exposed. Marcus observed her preoccupation during the morning routine. Something's amiss, he remarked, observing her as she examined his fore with a lack of her typical meticulousness. Nothing I can't manage, Sarah responded, though her hands quivered just a bit as she noted his improving vital signs. His leg movement was gaining strength, with small twitches evolving into more deliberate actions each day. You see, Marcus said thoughtfully, there was a time when an employee of mine leaked confidential information, believing it would damage my reputation. Instead, it unveiled a philanthropic endeavor I had chosen to keep under wraps. At times, when individuals seek to retaliate, their efforts can unexpectedly misfire. Just as Sarah was about to reply, Diana entered the scene alongside Dr. Richards for their rounds. My dear Sarah, she said with a gentle tone, this afternoon, there will be a staff meeting focused on the dynamics of patient-nurse relationships. Attendance is required. The meeting unfolded precisely as Sarah had anticipated. During the HR meeting, the topic of professional boundaries was addressed, though some attendees couldn't help but stifle their laughter behind their hands. She sensed their gazes, caught snippets of their murmurs, likely spends nights in his room, and pondered what his girlfriend might feel. That evening, Sarah discovered her locker adorned with Monopoly money and a rough sketch of a nurse shackled by a ball and chain. While she wiped it down, her phone vibrated with a message from her brother. Looking for additional funding for physical therapy? She shut her eyes, reflecting on the reasons that had led her to accept this task initially. The extra pay was having a significant impact on her family, despite the damage to her reputation. As she made her way back to Marcus's room for the evening rounds, she caught snippets of his conversation on the phone. "No, I don't wish to take legal action against the ski resort, but I am keen on advancing the patient care technology we talked about. Indeed, I've acquired a few valuable perspectives throughout my time here." As she stepped inside, their gazes locked. There was a depth in his gaze that implied he was perceiving more than merely a nurse monitoring his vitals. "Sarah," he said after she'd completed her checks, "did you know that before I started my tech company, I was a janitor?" There were times when hushed conversations swirled around me as well. Claimed I was pilfering office supplies and taking up residence in the building. People often feel apprehensive about things that are beyond their comprehension. "What is it that they fail to grasp about me?" Sarah inquired, smoothing out his blankets. He responded that true dignity transcends status. It revolves around the way you engage with others when the spotlight is off, or perhaps even more so when it's shining brightly on you. Later that night, Sarah discovered another note in her locker, yet this one had a distinct quality about it. A heartfelt note from a family she had supported months earlier, expressing gratitude for her compassion during their mother's last days. She had overlooked the letter, tucked away and lost to memory in more favorable days. At times, she understood that it's essential to have reminders of your true self when the world attempts to define you otherwise. The morning when chaos almost ensued began just like any other day. Sarah made her entrance ahead of schedule, assessed Marcus's vitals, and assisted him with his progressively effective mobility exercises. Each day, his legs showed more improvement, yet he still required full support for personal care. Then she discovered that her locker had been split in two. Her extra uniform had vanished, substituted with a French-made outfit accompanied by a note, "More fitting for your opportunistic tasks." Her family photo was marred, her brother's face highlighted with the words, "Is this why you're pursuing millionaires?" With trembling hands, Sarah shut the locker door behind her. After weeks of emotional restraint, she sensed the tears on the verge of spilling over. She hurried to the staff bathroom, securing herself in a stall as her phone vibrated with yet another notification. Another loan application for her brother's treatment had been denied. The extra hours from Marcus's care were beneficial, yet they fell short of what was needed. The walls felt like they were closing in, memories from foster care rushing back like a tide. The murmurs, the allegations, the conjectures surrounding her intentions each time she sought to advance. "Is that you, Sarah?" A gentle rap echoed against the bathroom door. "The individual in room 501 is requesting your attention." A fresh face in the nursing field, Karen. A person who refrained from participating in the ridicule. With a quick splash of water to refresh her face, Sarah adjusted her uniform and made her way to Marcus's room. She discovered him striving to rise on his own, his expression tight with determination. "You really shouldn't do that alone," she remarked instinctively, stepping in to lend a hand. "And you mustn't allow them to shatter your spirit," he responded, his gaze locking with hers in the mirror of his room's window. "I learned about the locker." Sarah's polished facade faltered just a bit. "I ought to seek a transfer. It is evolving." "Escaping won't solve anything," Marcus interjected. "Believe me, I gave that a shot once. I lost my first company due to my inability to manage the whispers and undermining actions around me. I nearly surrendered completely. What has shifted?" He grimaced as he shifted position, coming to the painful realization that allowing them to win would mean betraying not only those who believed in him but also himself. I could really use your assistance with physical therapy today. My legs are killing me. Sarah chuckled, the sound unexpectedly catching in her throat. While she guided him through his exercises, he kept the conversation flowing. Have you ever considered what the most challenging aspect of achieving success might be? People often think you've always succeeded, never faced challenges. They observe the final outcome and weave their own narrative about the journey that led you to that point. It's like thinking that every nurse who assists you is on the hunt for a wealthy benefactor. Sarah's voice carried a sharp edge. Precisely. Marcus succeeded in moving his left leg on its own, a modest victory. However, what I discovered is that their narratives reveal more about themselves than they do about you. As her shift drew to a close, Sarah arrived at a conclusion. She refused to give up. She meticulously recorded each incident, every note, every vandalized photo, not out of a desire for retribution, but as a safeguard, both for herself and for future nurses who could encounter similar experiences. As she collected her belongings to depart, she discovered a fresh note in her locker. Yet this one stood apart, penned in Marcus's bold handwriting. Dignity is not something that can be bestowed or stripped away. It is something that must be upheld. Looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. With determination, Sarah squared her shoulders and strode confidently to her car, her head held high. Tomorrow presents yet another opportunity to demonstrate my capabilities, tackling each patient care task with determination. In the following 4 weeks, transformations unfolded with such delicacy that initially, only Sarah perceived them. Marcus's left leg reacted to stimulation with a growing consistency. His right leg, while still mostly unresponsive, exhibited encouraging nerve activity during the morning evaluations. What do you observe? Dr. Richards inquired during rounds, examining Marcus's progress chart. Sarah elaborated on the enhancements, heightened muscle response, improved circulation, and extended intervals of sensation. Her detailed notes captured each minor triumph and every obstacle, weaving together a thorough narrative of his healing journey. Outstanding documentation, Dr. Richards acknowledged with a nod. This level of meticulous observation is essential for effective treatment planning. Diana, positioned close by, pressed her lips together. Maybe we're seeing things through rose-colored glasses. The unpredictability of temporary paralysis can be quite striking. Yet that afternoon in physical therapy, Marcus demonstrated her mistake. As Sarah assisted with his left leg during the recommended exercises, his toes began to shift. Not merely a twitch, but a purposeful curl. Did you catch that? Marcus's voice trembled with deep feeling. Sarah nodded, meticulously recording the milestone. Give it another shot. The force of the movement was more intense this time. Petite yet undeniable. Page Dr. Richards, Sarah directed a passing aid. Her enthusiasm meticulously restrained beneath a facade of professionalism. The news traveled swiftly throughout the hospital. Sarah caught the shift in the whisper's tone. The quickest recovery observed to date. And her treatment plan truly proved effective. That evening, as she pored over his charts, Sarah stumbled upon a tablet nestled among Marcus's belongings. The internal development page of his company was accessible. The title proclaimed, Project Dignity, Transforming Patient Care with the Power of Technology. It's not time to announce it yet, Marcus remarked, observing her realization. However, the journey here has molded its path. Sarah examined the project outline closely. Advancements in the realm of patient observation. Protocols for care that uphold dignity. Frameworks for monitoring incremental enhancements in recovery. She saw reflections of her own techniques in the suggestions. She noted that you had been jotting down observations. You have as well. He acknowledged her intricate charts with a nod. Your documentation system surpasses the effectiveness of any software we have created. Just as Sarah was about to reply, Tom walked in, pushing the evening medication trolley ahead of him. Are you still in the role of Florence Nightingale? He wore a sly grin. It seems to be yielding results. For all individuals. Marcus's voice sliced through the atmosphere with a sharp precision. Mr. Parker, is there anything in particular you require? Tom withdrew, Yet not before Sarah noticed his grimace. Eventually, she discovered that her meticulous notes on Marcus's recovery had been duplicated and scrawled over with harsh remarks, placed deliberately for her to stumble upon. She embarked on a fresh collection of notes, richer in detail than ever before. She had come to understand that small victories frequently wore the guise of setbacks. That evening, while she aided Marcus in getting ready for bed, he was able to change his position with little help. A significant achievement. Advancement isn't always grand, he remarked, leaning back against his cushions. At times, it's simply about demonstrating the contrary, step by step. Sarah smoothed the blankets, contemplating advancement and viewpoint, triumphs and validation. Tomorrow would usher in fresh challenges. Yet for the moment, the little victories sufficed. 6 weeks into Marcus's recovery, a pivotal shift occurred. It began in the morning care session when he successfully swung his legs over the edge of the bed on his own. Sarah recorded the accomplishment, but just as she was about to assist him, Diana stormed in with a group of administrators. "Mr. Bennett," she radiated, "we are here to talk about your move to our premium care wing, considering your status and the progress you've made. What's my current situation?" Marcus's voice held a menacing sharpness. "Are you suggesting that I can afford to indulge in premium mockery rather than settling for the standard version?" A hush enveloped the room. Diana's smile wavered. "For 6 weeks," Marcus went on, "I've absorbed your team's remarks, each murmur, every jest, every vulgar suggestion regarding Nurse Matthews' integrity." The administrator advanced with purpose. "Mr. Bennett, I can assure you that I have recorded every detail," Marcus interjected. "Each event, every individual, encompassing the intrusion into Sarah's locker and the online bullying." Sarah paused, her hands resting on the chart she was meticulously updating. She was unaware that he was maintaining records. Marcus, managing to stand with minimal support, remarked that the only individual in this hospital who consistently treated him with dignity was Sarah Matthews, the very nurse you've subjected to your disdain for simply excelling in her duties. Diana's complexion had drained completely. "We were merely what?" Marcus's voice was steady, yet his eyes burned with intensity. "Merely undermining a committed healthcare professional, merely fostering a hostile work environment, merely showcasing all that is flawed in patient care within contemporary hospitals." He extended his hand toward his phone. "A testing ground is essential for the new healthcare technology division of my company. I was contemplating this hospital, but now..." He allowed the implications to linger in the atmosphere. The administrative team withdrew, leaving Sarah and Marcus in solitude. The quiet lingered in the air around them. "It was clear," Sarah finally stated, "throughout the entire journey." Each word he affirmed. "I was aware enough to absorb everything, even in those initial days. I sought to grasp the true workings of this hospital when they believed no significant ears were tuned in." Sarah absorbed this revelation, recalling each harsh comment, every cutting remark they believed their affluent patient was oblivious to. "What comes next?" she inquired. Marcus achieved several supported steps, showcasing his most impressive movement to date. "At this moment, now we demonstrate what true patient care entails, beginning with some necessary updates to staff conduct policies." That afternoon, Sarah discovered her vandalized family photo had been swapped out for a new, elegantly framed version. A note was included with it. "Dignity cannot be purchased. It's deserved. You have truly deserved this countless times." The murmurs in the corridor had shifted once more, now laced with a sense of dread. Yet Sarah persisted in her efforts, meticulously recording advancements, upholding quality, demonstrating that unwavering professionalism triumphs over spite consistently. On Monday morning, the hospital administrators returned to room 501, this time with varied expressions. The patronizing grins and nonchalant rejections had vanished. Instead, they brought tablets filled with records of workplace harassment incidents. The HR director announced the launch of a formal investigation, avoiding direct eye contact with Sarah. "We require statements from each of you." Marcus, having gained the ability to stand on his own for brief moments, looked out at them from his window. I trust you've gone over the social media posts, the recordings from the break room, and the security footage related to the locker incident. The administrators fidgeted in their seats. Diana was conspicuously missing. Throughout the day, team members were summoned to various meetings. Sarah pressed on with her responsibilities, keenly aware of the anxious looks trailing her through the hallways. Tom steered clear of room 501 altogether, delegating the task to a junior orderly instead. Marcus noted during physical therapy, "You never mentioned anything about the recordings." With Sarah's guidance, he diligently worked through his walking exercises, each step becoming more robust. "Would it have mattered without your impact?" "That is the change that must occur," he responded, clutching the support rail tightly. Access to quality care should not hinge on a patient's capacity to advocate for it. By afternoon, word circulated that Diana had been placed on suspension while an investigation was underway. Tom, along with a few others, has been put on administrative leave. The hospital grapevine, previously alive with ridicule aimed at Sarah, now murmured about shifts in policy and reviews of ethics. Ms. Matthews, the HR director, intercepted her following her shift. "We would appreciate the opportunity to explore your insights regarding our patient care protocols. Your approach to documentation has been remarkably detailed." Sarah reflected on her meticulous charts and her thorough notes, not only regarding Marcus's recovery but also about every patient she had ever tended to. She stated plainly that she holds everyone to the same standards. In the near future, while arranging the necessary paperwork for Marcus's discharge, he would be transitioning to outpatient care. Sarah discovered initial concepts for his healthcare technology initiative. She was identified as a principal consultant. "Only if you're interested," Marcus remarked from his chair, engrossed in reviewing hospital policy documents. "Your observations on respectful patient care are precisely what this field requires." Sarah glanced at the proposal before shifting her gaze to the patient charts. Maybe transformation didn't solely arise from monumental acts or intense clashes. At times, it stemmed from the act of adhering to principles, meticulously recording every detail, and allowing the truth to emerge in its own time. That evening, she discovered her locker devoid of any harassment notes. In its place, an official letter emerged. The hospital board sought her insights on updating their patient care protocols. The murmurs lingered, yet they had transformed. Now they discussed responsibility, repercussions, and the long-awaited transformation. With a determined flick of her uniform, Sarah set off for home, aware that the dawn would usher in fresh challenges. Yet this time, she would face them on her own terms. Sarah's first day as director of long-term care began with a stack of resumes on her desk. The hospital was hiring new staff to replace those who'd left during the investigation. Her small office, with its window overlooking the garden, felt surreal after years of break room corners and borrowed desk space. The HR director explained, lingering in her doorway, that the board is seeking your input on all new hires. With your background in handling staff conduct matters, Sarah took the time to review applications while also attending to patients, including Marcus, who was now able to walk short distances on his own. His release was planned for the end of the week. It felt unusual to be on the opposite side of the desk, he remarked during his afternoon therapy session, which she continued to oversee personally. "A stranger overseeing those who once ridiculed me," she responded, revising his progress notes. Several previous detractors now answered directly to her. Their enforced civility served as a constant reminder of the fragility of circumstances. A gentle knock at the door heralded the arrival of Karen, the nurse whose compassion had shone brightly through the darkest of times. "The new staff orientation materials require a thorough review," she remarked, gently setting a folder on Sarah's desk, "and Diana's replacement is set to begin on Monday." Sarah opened the folder and discovered that her unique documentation methods had been seamlessly woven into the standard training protocols. What was once dismissed as overly meticulous in tracking patient progress was now being adopted throughout the entire hospital. Later that afternoon, she caught wind of two nurses chatting about her promotion. One remarked that she truly deserved it. "Recall that elderly patient from last winter? She treated him like royalty, despite his inability to pay for the premium wing. I heard that Bennett's company is working on software inspired by her methods, the other replied. Picture this. Every meticulously crafted note holds true significance. Sarah shut her office door, reflecting on the many evenings dedicated to refining those notes, convinced that meticulous documentation led to improved patient care. Now, those same techniques could benefit numerous others. The day concluded with a discussion regarding Marcus's discharge. While examining his last charts, she observed handwritten notes, proposing ways to integrate her care protocols into the healthcare technology of his company. Your promotion isn't due to my influence, he remarked, studying her reaction. Your unwavering standards have come at a price, yet you never wavered. Sarah contemplated the principles and repercussions, reflecting on the dignity upheld during challenging moments. Her new position wasn't a triumph over her past adversaries. It was a testament to her steadfast dedication to exemplary patient care. That evening, while emptying her old locker, she discovered one final anonymous note. This time, it simply stated, "Thank you for showing us a better way." She affixed it to her office bulletin board, a reminder that often the most effective response is to elevate oneself, uphold one's principles, and allow time to unveil the reality. 3 months into her new role, Sarah found herself at Marcus's company headquarters, enveloped by developers and healthcare specialists. The conference room, with its glass walls, stood in sharp contrast to her office at the hospital, yet the core principle remained unchanged: the dignity of the patient. Present the care tracking interface, Marcus instructed, now completely restored and ready to lead his empire once more. Yet, there was a shift in his approach to leadership, highlighting a fresh focus on the importance of human dignity within the realm of technological advancement. Sarah accessed her documentation system, honed through years of dedicated patient care. She explained that the essence lies in capturing micro-improvements, those small victories that conventional charts may overlook. The development team leaned in, captivated by her demonstration of how her tracking method could foresee recovery patterns and enhance care protocols. Her past experiences in the hospital had evolved into something groundbreaking. A young developer shared, pulling up another screen, that they had integrated biometric monitoring, but it was the emotional wellness tracking that truly transformed the experience. Sarah examined the prototype, merging her meticulous documentation with innovative technology. She reflected on the countless evenings dedicated to refining her notes, never envisioning they would bring her to this moment. During their lunch break, Marcus noted that the hospital board had called again. They aspire to be the pioneers in executing the complete system, the very board that overlooked staff harassment for an extended period. Sarah arched an eyebrow. Occasionally, the most valuable insights arise from our greatest missteps, he responded. Their entire patient care strategy is being reconstructed around your protocols. In the development lab, Sarah observed her foundational principles of patient dignity evolve into advanced software. Every aspect mirrored a valuable insight gained throughout the challenging weeks of Marcus's care, monitoring not only physical healing but also emotional health, the preservation of dignity, and the quality of care provided. "We're naming it the Matthews Protocol," Marcus declared as the day drew to a close. "Unless you have any objections." Sarah reflected on her brother, who was now benefiting from quality care due to her enhanced circumstances. She reflected on her past critics, some of whom were now adopting her techniques in their everyday tasks. Ultimately, her conclusion was that it should benefit the patients. That evening, as she made her way back to her hospital office, she discovered a message from Dr. Richards waiting for her. Various hospitals sought details regarding their enhanced recovery rates. It appeared that transformation had a tendency to ripple outward. On her desk rested the original notebook in which she chronicled Marcus's care. Each nuance, each minor triumph, every instance of preserved grace, even amid the tumult around us. It now stood as the cornerstone for something far grander than her own existence. She came to understand that innovation frequently emerged from the most surprising sources, even from the murmurs and ridicule that had once sought to shatter her resolve. Exactly 1 year after Marcus Bennett's admission, a new high-profile patient made their way to Memorial General Hospital. Sarah observed from her office as media vans assembled outside, their presence hauntingly recognizable. Technology executive. Skiing mishap, Karen informed, delivering the enrollment documents. Not immobilized, but requires comprehensive assistance. The team is already murmuring. Sarah beamed, lost in thought. She resolved to assign Lisa to the case, selecting a nurse renowned for her outstanding documentation and commitment to dignity-centered care. Ensure that all have gone over our updated conduct policies. The Matthews Protocol software buzzed softly on her desktop, meticulously monitoring patient care across the hospital. The implementation revolutionized their recovery rates, establishing Memorial as a benchmark for healthcare institutions across the country. As Sarah strolled through the halls during rounds, she caught snippets of conversations that felt worlds apart from those of just a year prior. Healthcare professionals engaged in conversations about subtle enhancements in patient well-being, while support staff exchanged methods for maintaining dignity, and the discussions in the break rooms centered on the quality of care instead of idle chatter. Do you recall when this floor transformed into a battleground? Karen reflected, joining her on the rounds. We are currently organizing seminars focused on patient dignity for various hospitals. Sarah lingered outside room 501, newly updated yet eternally etched in her mind. Inside, Lisa was meticulously recording the new patient's progress utilizing the system that Sarah had innovated. Your methods changed everything, came Marcus's voice from behind her. He frequently came by to supervise the software's implementation, yet you never revealed the harassment notes you had saved, the ones that confirmed everything. Some victories don't require an audience, Sarah replied, observing Lisa showcase the same compassion she had once been ridiculed for offering. Later that day, Sarah encountered a scene she recognized. A young nurse, the subject of hushed conversations in the corridors. However, on this occasion, she observed as the senior staff promptly tackled the behavior, referencing the policies that had been established following last year's incidents. In her office, Sarah meticulously examined the hospital's most recent patient satisfaction scores, which marked the highest achievement in their history. On her wall, the framed front page of a medical journal showcased the success stories of the Matthews Protocol. Full circle, she whispered, caressing the frame. What began as ridicule and bias transformed into a groundbreaking movement in the realm of patient care. A gentle rap at her door unveiled a timid, fresh-faced nurse. The board is eager to adopt your protocol in the pediatric wing, she mentioned. There is a belief that it has the potential to revolutionize the recovery rates for children. Sarah nodded, her mind racing with the necessary adjustments ahead. At times, she understood that the most powerful answer to harshness wasn't retaliation. It was a transformation. Sarah stood confidently at the podium of the National Healthcare Innovation Conference, addressing an audience of medical professionals gathered from across the nation. Behind her, a screen showcased the impressive statistics of the Matthews Protocol. Enhanced recovery rates, reduced hospital stays, and remarkable patient satisfaction scores. Dignity in healthcare is not a luxury, she stated, her voice unwavering. This is a basic entitlement that changes the results for patients. In the front row, Marcus sat alongside his executive team, representing his company's healthcare division, which now stands at the forefront of the industry in patient-centered technology. Their eyes locked for a moment, conveying an unspoken acknowledgement of the journey they had traversed since those challenging times in room 501. Following her speech at the reception, Diana made her way over. After the investigation, she secured a position at a small clinic, carrying with her a sense of humility from the experience. Your protocol saved my career, Diana confessed softly. The clinic put it into action 6 months ago. At last, I grasped the lesson you were imparting to us from the very beginning. Sarah accepted the admission with a poised nod, recalling a moment when such an encounter would have seemed like a triumph. At this point, it was just another step in an ongoing adventure. Later that evening, in her office at Memorial, Sarah meticulously examined the patient charts from the day. The hospital transformed into a hub of education, cultivating healthcare professionals in care that prioritizes dignity. The break room that had once been a stage for ridicule had transformed into a training ground for new nurses mastering the Matthews Protocol. Her phone vibrated, signaling a message from Marcus. Project Dignity is set to launch globally next month. Your brother's PT clinic is set to be one of the initial recipients of the complete system upgrade. With a warm smile, Sarah reflected on the countless patients who stood to gain from this. On her desk rested a frame holding two significant items: the harsh note from her locker a year prior, and below it, the journal cover heralding the groundbreaking influence of the Matthews Protocol on patient care. At times, she pondered, the most profound changes start with the simplest gestures of upholding dignity, not solely for others, but also for oneself. The murmurs had shifted over time, yet Sarah stood steadfast, a caregiver devoted to capturing every nuance, honoring each minor triumph, and bestowing every patient with steadfast respect. Ultimately, that was what truly set everything apart.